This is a Shock podcast.
Shock. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to The Art of Beauty. I'm your host, Yasmin, yet again, and here at The Art of Beauty, we're talking about all things beauty. The industry, skin positivity, confidence, the hottest new releases, and more. I'm super excited to delve deeper into the extensive world that is beauty with you in each episode. So, good to see you again if you're returning, and if you're new here, welcome to the podcast. Happy to have you here. So, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about upcoming trends within makeup and skincare, how beauty intersects with fashion, and lastly, how our personal styles are reflected in both beauty and fashion, and just like what the relationship is between the two. So, without further ado, I would also like to welcome a special guest, my best friend and uncertified but very evident skincare junkie, Sabrina. Hello.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me today. I'm so excited.
So formal.
I'm so excited to talk all things beauty and fashion with you.
So, firstly, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. And yeah, I was just going to say, just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do, where you work.
So, I'm Sabrina. I've known Yasmin literally since birth. So I recently started working at Estee Lauder companies. I started back in December and I'm working under La Mer, but I'll soon be transferring to Estee Lauder to work as a retail marketing exec. So I'm a newbie to the skincare and beauty world, but it's
professionally,
but personally,
I've
been obsessed with it
forever. Yeah, so I would say that Sabrina's definitely helped me in like starting my own skincare journey. I feel like you've cared about skincare for like a really long time.
Yeah, I've always been really interested in not only the messaging behind the brands, but everything down to the ingredients and what's really in the products. I actually have a background in chemistry and yes, I studied chemistry in university. Every time people hear about that, they're like, why would you do that? It's so difficult. But like from a beauty standpoint, I find it very interesting to look exactly what's inside and to see how it really affects our skin.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty stuff, I actually just want to go back a little bit and just want to ask you like what beauty means to you and what your self-care or like makeup like routine or like whatever, like just like what is a part of your routine that like makes you feel good.
My beauty routine is basically comes down to what makes my skin feel the best. And I would say my routine used to be more complex when I was a teenager. I was layer as many things on my skin as possible.
I remember that,
the more the better, you know.
Yeah.
But now I really believe in less is more. And I find that now that I've stripped it back and like gone more simple, my skin is typically sensitive. And I realized how much damage that was doing to my skin. And now I think it's just so much better to stick with products that I'm comfortable with. Of course, I do love trying new things out, but I will always end up going back to my favorites.
Yeah.
The act of self-love and having a routine to start off my day is really important. And then obviously at the end of the day too, at night, my routine is a bit more extensive because I have more time at night to really pamper myself and indulge in a longer routine. It helps me like close the day as well.
I think the difference between you and me has always been that you've placed a lot more emphasis on skincare, whereas maybe I'm more like a makeup person. Yeah, like don't get me wrong, I'm so into skincare and I kind of have to be because I have acne, right? But like your idea of self-care is skincare.
It's more focused on skincare.
Yeah, it's way more focused on skincare, whereas my idea of self-care is putting on the makeup.
Yeah, experimenting with makeup.
Exactly. I mean, we're going to get into like personal like styles and all of that later on, but like I think overall, even like on the makeup front, like you're quite minimalist, right?
Very.
You're quite
I don't experiment much with my makeup.
You're quite nature.
Yeah, it's nature.
Right? Yeah, whereas I'm like I definitely wouldn't say like I think there's a time and place for everything, but like I tend to gravitate towards something a bit less nature. Yeah, more out there. Like I play with colors and stuff like that. But we're gonna get into like all of that a bit later on. But what do you think as like someone who is a professional? I mean, like what's to come in like this year? Because yeah, I mean, you know, what have we noticed over the past few years in terms of beauty? Like, you know, whether it's like change in attitudes, change in, I don't know, trends, like, etc. I think much like everything, like beauty is ever evolving, right? But at the same time, it does draw a lot of inspiration from the past, right? So yeah, I mean, like we're not here to talk about like beauty through the ages really, but just like a lot of trends are in a way like recycled. Okay, so like on the makeup end, for example, like we're seeing a lot of like graphic liners, but that was such a huge thing like in the 60s and the 70s.
I feel like with graphic liners and like very experimental eye makeup, for example, I think Euphoria has really set the trend.
Oh yeah.
Actually, when I watch Euphoria and I look at like how beautiful their eye makeup is, it makes me want to try it myself, even though I'm not, you know, I'm not experimental with my makeup, but I really enjoyed looking at the eye makeup. What do you think? The eye makeup on Euphoria.
Yeah, no, I mean, Donnie Davy, the main artist behind all the looks in Euphoria, she works with like a team of other makeup artists, and they're heavily inspired by Instagram actually, and a lot of the stuff that creators are creating influencers on Instagram specifically are doing today. And you know, whether that's like face jewels, like you know, making crystals, like a liner out of like crystals, or like
abstract,
super abstract, like using like a lot more glitter and all of that. And I feel like we're segueing a little bit, but like but I mean, it is a trend, right? Euphoria makeup is like a thing. You know, if you go onto Instagram and you like search #Euphoria makeup, you get like a ton of looks, just like glitter inspired, or and they pull a lot of inspiration as well from the past. The graphic like bold liners, or like a lot of like glitter that's very like Y2K, like you know,
so Y2K is another trend.
And the whole, you know, using like a dark like lip liner and like a very like nude lip, like that's very Y2K as well. Oh yeah, by the way, Euphoria, if you're listening to this and you're not 18, please
don't watch it. Do not watch it.
18 plus only. But yeah, it definitely created a shift in the industry for sure. Not just the beauty industry, but also like the TV industry, because prior to Euphoria, makeup like that was not seen on TV. Like, I mean, if you guys can name a single TV show that has makeup like that, then fair enough. But like for the most part, like I don't think I've seen anything quite like it. And I think that's what drawn a lot of people in, right? It's like a whole thing of its own.
Absolutely. I agree.
Euphoria aside, like talking about K-beauty, which is like a whole other thing. Obviously, K-beauty has been like around for forever, but it has emerged in the Western market only in the past like 2-3 years, right? I feel like the pandemic's changed a lot. The pandemic has had an impact on the industry for sure. And you have things like this glass skin trend, you know, people using gua shas,
glass skin, glowy skin,
dewy skin. Exactly. Like that's something I think a lot of people, especially recently, have been paying more attention to their skin because they're staying home a lot more. So makeup isn't that prominent. Right?
I agree.
I think that translates into like makeup as well. It's just it's more about like taking care of your skin first, and then like the makeup that they put on top of it tends to be like, you know, using a lot of like face glosses or just like focusing on like dewy skin.
Also, a lot of makeup recently has a lot of added skincare benefits in it. And I think that's another thing that's been trending, I would say, is that foundations you see nowadays will have things like hyaluronic acid in it. So, you know, you're also taking care of your skin at the same time as putting on makeup, which I love that trend. I mean, I want that to stay forever.
And I think it will stay for forever though, because like the no makeup trend is definitely back. I think maybe like 5 years prior to this, so like when we were back in school, I think it was still very much like
heavy makeup,
glam, va-va-voom, like super thick eyebrows, like thick structured like bold eyebrows, like that kind of thing. And because of the panini, we've just had to, like you said, like strip everything back. So people are focusing more on like less is more, like you said, like in the very beginning. Even like something like contouring, for example.
Oh, contouring
I feel
was
like
very heavy back then.
yeah,
I feel.
it was a thing like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Whereas I think now we're moving more towards something like bronzing.
Yeah,
rather
brontour.
than- yeah, brontour. Oh yeah, that's true.
That's it.
Yeah, brontour.
Just enhancing like what you already have.
Yeah. And I think it's also because like this change is happening in conjunction with this movement that's obviously happening on social media of like, you know, loving yourself more and like taking care of yourself. And also going back to like a previous episode that I did, just like having and seeing more diversity, right? And like acceptance of a range of beauty, I guess. So people aren't that focused anymore on like super glam stuff anymore. But I mean, you're right. Like, who's to say it won't change?
There's a time for it.
Yeah, there's a time for it. Like, yeah, I still love like a full glam, but like there are days where I'm totally like bare skin. I stay at home, like
Who knows,
whatever.
glam might come back now that we're, you know, moving to the endemic phase.
That's
and
true.
everyone's
See,
starting to
there you
out.
go. And this is why I'm saying it's just like beauty and what that looks like.
Changes.
It's constantly
So
changing
quick.
super quickly.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked a lot about like makeup, but on the skincare end as well, I was doing some research and like I even noticed stuff like fermented ingredients in skincare has become like a thing. Yeah, you have Youth to the People's kombucha and 11% AHA exfoliation toner. So if you don't know, fermentation is something that's deeply rooted in culture and it's based on ancient beauty techniques. And the reason why it's in skincare is because it has this capacity to boost effectiveness and extend the shelf life of products and basically ensuring that it doesn't go to waste. Yeah,
You
so
know,
that's
these
something that's been coming up.
These products also help with the microbiome of your skin because
All right.
Sorry, getting
check
technical.
out, check out the
technical here.
terms, man. Okay, yeah, carry
microbiome,
on.
basically the microbiome of your skin obviously has a mix of good bacteria and bad bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
So you need both of them for your skin to flourish and look glowy.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody wants glowy skin, right? You need to make sure that everything in your microbiome works harmoniously.
Moving on from like what's good for you, I was also like noticing that there's like an upcoming trend in like edible beauty. So,
I haven't heard that one.
well, I mean, no, yes, you have. It's like using like superfood like
Oh, okay, of
powders.
course, okay, yes.
Like, I mean, because beauty isn't just
You put on top.
yeah,
first.
it's something
Yes.
that's inside as well. And
Yeah.
I think because of the pandemic, we're so used to, you know, taking vitamin C and stuff like that. But because of that, people are like getting used to like taking like supplements.
Yeah.
So
beauty supplements.
yeah, so you have like superfood powders or you have like
For your
gummy bears with
hair.
collagen, like stuff
Collagen.
like that. And I read somewhere, well, Trendalytics, which is a predictive data and retail analytics platform, that said that there's a 106% rise in searches for ingestibles. So like the stuff that I said from last year in 2021.
Interesting.
And there's also a 44% increase in supplements formulated with mood and beauty boosting benefits.
Okay.
But yeah, those are just some of the changes that we're starting to see as we come out of this panini.
Panini.
Right? Yeah. And alongside that, another segue, because this pandemic is also coming to an end, a lot of fashion shows are starting again, right?
Yes.
Just last week we had Paris, and it's relatively obvious that fashion and beauty they have a partnership.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
They work really well
Together.
I was just thinking like what have we seen on fashion runways?
Low-rise mini skirts coming back.
Oh
Have
my
you seen that
God.
one? I don't think I could ever rock that.
No.
No way.
Of course not.
But yeah, Miu Miu brought that out. Low-rise mini skirts, very Y2K. of
Very
course.
Y2K.
Platform shoes I've seen as well. Have you seen those Versace tall heels?
Oh my god, have I?
Prada platform loafers. A lot of platform I've been seeing.
Damn. Yeah, I feel like everyone's just like going all out, I
Yeah.
guess. It's kind of like a celebration of us returning back to, well, not returning back,
Normalcy.
but getting some normalcy back.
Yeah.
And I mean, you mentioned Versace, and the genius behind all of their like makeup looks is Pat.
McGrath.
Mother Pat.
Icon mother.
Yeah, she was the one putting out all the neon eyeliner.
She is iconic.
She's so iconic. Yeah, the neon eyeliner that's like lime green, like teal, like cat eyes that covered like your entire lid. I think there was also the Julia Fox effect as well.
Oh my God,
like
yeah.
you saw a lot of models like using those
super thick.
Yeah, like the super thick, like black, like kind of messy,
Yeah.
but kind of
Yeah.
fetch, like at the same time. Yeah, and that was happening, at Versace as well. Like we mentioned earlier, there was also a lot of like face jewels, like they made it wearable at Fendi and Etro as well, where they just put like rhinestones, they dotted it like all over their face or something. For forever, right? I think a lot of the makeup looks or the hair looks that we see like at fashion shows are informed by the way that they dress. So like you said, like there were like mini skirts coming back up, and that's a very Y2K thing, and with that comes with Y2K inspired makeup looks as well. And
I think another thing I've noticed too is a lot of people being very experimental with their hair. Curtain bangs.
Oh, curtain bangs, yeah.
Yes, everybody on TikTok
trying to go.
has that.
I'm trying to go down that route too. To be fair, yeah. I think I don't know. Again, like coming out of this stage in our lives. Let's just call it that. I feel like we've said panini and pandemic so many times. Like I think people are just kind of wanting to let their hair down a little bit in terms of just how they express themselves through
Revamp themselves.
Revamp, like you go I mean, I think we all can attest to that. Like we all started this pandemic together, like as like one person, and like I mean I can say that I'm probably coming out of this pandemic like a completely different person. Yeah, and with that, like, you know, your personal like tastes or styles have changed as well, because it's been like 2 years.
Yes, 2 years.
Oh my god, when you say it like that, it's so tragic. Yeah, it's been 2 years, so of course naturally things have changed.
Yeah.
Right? Again, a perfect segue. Like, how have you seen like your personal like style, whether it's like beauty, like skincare, makeup, whatever, how do you think it's transitioned over the past like couple of years? Like if you look back on your own personal favorites or like your style like 5 years ago.
I think back then I was trying to follow trends too much. Like I would try things out that, because everyone's wearing it, I want to wear that too, even though maybe it didn't suit me or I didn't feel super comfortable in it. But I feel like nowadays, if I see a trend and I try it out and see how it works for me, if I don't like it, then I wouldn't continue wearing it. So, for example, for me, like I said before, one trend that I really like is like the oversized blazer. And I feel super comfortable in it. I feel like empowered wearing something like that. So it's definitely a part of my closet now. I have it in oversized blazers in different colors. And in terms of beauty, I would say my skincare and my makeup is just as important as what I choose to wear every day. And like it's how I'm able to individually express myself and portray myself to the world. And like, yeah, I love having fun with it as well. Like
beauty and fashion, just talking about like how they can come together, they can absolutely stand on their own. But when they're put together, it's, I don't know, it feels complete. Almost, right? I mean, even during quarantine, like when we were really in the thick of it, I still tried here and there to just like get dressed and like do my makeup. Just cause to make
yourself feel good,
better. Yeah, again, it was just complete. I mean, yeah, there were some days where I put on makeup and I was still wearing PJs, but the days that I put on makeup and like I actually like put like some sort of effort into what I was dressing. I don't know, like made me walk a bit differently, made me talk a little bit differently, like during like my meetings or something like that. Because like for me personally, like during quarantine, during MCO, it gave some sort of like oomph to my day. I don't know what other word to use really, but
it gives you that boost of confidence.
Exactly. I
agree.
I think personal style, it currently rules in fashion, and it's, you know, like women make choices regarding their appearance just every day, right? For example, like I woke up today and, okay, I mean, obviously you guys can't see me, but like I have blue eyeshadow in my inner corners.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
You see, but the difference between me and Yasmin is that I would never try something out like that unless I was going for like a special event. I would never try it out. Whereas Yasmin just picked this random day to put blue eyeshadow in the corners.
I'm wearing blue eyeshadow in my inner corners, and I have like this blue-purple duochrome like on my lids.
It's so pretty.
Yeah,
if you guys
and-
could see this.
And I'm wearing blue jeans and like a sort of like navy like blackish top. It's very deliberate. I put it all together and like made sure that they were it's kind of monochromatic, but it's a choice that I made, right, to coordinate it all. And I can look in the mirror and be like, dang, like that's a good choice. Yeah. Not necessarily I look good, but it's like, dang, I made a good choice. You know what I mean? The colors suit, the colors match, like everything's good. It's all deliberate. The fact that we make choices regarding our appearance every single day, it's reflected by our beauty product choices as well. Same, like going back to, you know, what we're seeing like on the runways, or you have makeup artists who basically work hand in hand with fashion brands
To decide on the look that they need.
exactly,
Yeah.
because they inform one another.
Yeah.
And you have like most major like fashion houses that have their own beauty line now, right? You have Tom Ford, you have Saint Laurent, you have
Tom Ford's under Estee Lauder, by the way.
plug. What else is under you guys?
We have Estee Lauder, of course, La Mer, Clinique, Origins, Jo Malone, Tom Ford.
Yeah.
It's the big ones, I would say.
And obviously like with something like Tom Ford, it informs like, okay, for example, like in a photo shoot, right? It informs everything, right? Like you start from like the feel of the brand, and then it informs like the beauty look, and then it informs like the way that they dress for the photo shoot, right? Tom Ford's quite sophisticated. Very sophisticated, very atas, and you can see that. It's reflected in both the makeup look that again, going back to a photo shoot, it's reflected, that sophistication is reflected in the way that model dresses and the way that the makeup artist puts the makeup on them, right? And also like you have beauty content creators who also like help give ideas on how to make their makeup looks like wearable. I think fashion and beauty just in general, just summarizing everything, has so much in common, and they inform our decisions about the other, right? And I think coming out of this pandemic, again, we've seen so many changes, and we're seeing a re-emergence of like certain trends, whether it's like makeup or like skincare. But like with that being said, like you follow whatever trend you put out, like you know, it's totally cool. I think I think just because these are trends doesn't mean that like you have to follow them. It's
Trends
about what
come and
makes
go
you feel
every day. You can set the next trend.
Exactly. It's whatever makes you feel comfortable, right? I think, and that's something that like I keep wanting to stress like on this podcast, that beauty is absolutely what you make of it, right? And no matter what trend comes your way, like whatever you're comfortable with, follow it. And if you're not, then like, you know, you can try it and like leave it be, right? Like you, right? Like you said,
absolutely,
there's some stuff that like I do that like you would never. And there's certain things
and
that
you rock it your own way.
Exactly. And like the attention and care that you put into your skincare, I should, but I don't do that. It's just like, that's not like my idea of like, it's not my idea of self-care. And I think over the years as well, like things have like changed so much in terms of like just our personal styles, or like personal ways of like taking care of ourselves and like making us happy through beauty. And it's, like I said in the very beginning, ever evolving. Right.
Always.
Yes. So that's it for today's episode, y'all. Hope you guys feel a bit more inspired after this episode, and that maybe you've learned a thing or two. And as always, remember that beauty is how you define it, and your personal style is to your own taste and not anyone else's. So thank you, Sabrina, for
Thank you so much for having me. I had
podcast.
so much fun.
Yay! I'm glad that you did. To everyone else, catch you soon and sending love your way. Bye.
Bye.